It's time to make it, just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
My name is David Farrell, better known as the Old Fat Guy, and welcome to an episode of You Can Make It. I really appreciate you coming by today because I'm going to show you how to make one of the best dishes that I make, Memphis chicken wings. I'm going to be cooking them on the smoker, but you can also do these in an oven or over indirect heat in a barbecue if you don't have a smoker. It's quite easy to make. I'm just going to take a clove of garlic and smash it, put it in a pot. Then I'm going to add 25 milliliters or 2 tablespoons full of butter and a half a milliliter of, or that's an eighth of a teaspoon of Memphis barbecue rub. You can buy some or make your own. If you want to make your own, I'll put the recipe at the end. And then I'm going to add 25 milliliters of a hot buffalo sauce. There's several brands out there you can buy. 25 milliliters is 2 tablespoons. Then I'm just going to take this over to the stove and I'm going to heat it up until the butter melts and it comes to a boil. So you'll see it's just starting to steam and the butter's starting to melt. What you're going to be looking for is some bubbles to break the surface, and then we're ready to inject. As you can see, it takes a couple of minutes. It's come to a nice boil, and I just want to take a fork and pull the chunks of garlic out of this, or it will plug up my injector, because we're going to inject this sauce into the chicken wings. So we'll just pour some of the sauce in. I got a few chunks of garlic there. We might have a little bit of sticking. And now you want to do this on a plate because there's no way to do it without it squirting all over the place. But you're just going to put a little bit of the sauce into each one of the wing segments. I got 12 wing segments here, and we'll just fill them up. You'll note that you can't do this. One of these is going to squirt out. It just happens. There's the squirter. Like I say, you always get one that squirts out. And once you've got them all shut up, you'll note you still have some of the butter sauce left. So what you're going to do is just squirt it around. My wife will love me. Beautiful mess. You know you're cooking. And just make sure you get it all on there. And then just toss them around with your fingers. You'll notice the butter starts to harden up. Don't worry about that. And then you need to wash and rinse your fingers because we're going to be putting some sauce on there. Okay, so now I'm just going to put about 10 milliliters or 2 teaspoons of Memphis barbecue rub over the top of them. And flip them over and get the other side. And these are ready to go in the smoker, the barbecue, or the oven, depending how you're cooking them. I put the chicken wings directly on the rack of my smoker that I had preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You could also put these on a rack over a baking tray in a 350 degree Fahrenheit oven. After 20 minutes, I turn the chicken wings just to make sure they get a good crispy skin on all sides. After another 20 minutes of cooking, I checked the internal temperature on the chicken wings to make sure it was over 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just to make sure that any dangerous bacteria is killed. Then I took it inside to eat it. So our wings are all done. And the best part of cooking anything is tasting them, and I can hardly wait to try these Memphis wings. So let's give it a bite. Just a touch of heat, just enough herbs from the Memphis rub, These are really good wings and you can make it.
In today's episode, David prepared Memphis wings. The ingredients used are chicken wings, butter, red hot sauce, garlic, and Memphis rub. The Memphis rub ingredients are paprika, brown sugar, garlic powder, black pepper, ginger, onion powder, thyme, oregano, and kosher salt. If you'd like to try making these wings, visit David's blog at oldfatguy.ca. And, as always, you can make it. It's time to make it. Just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
Thank you for watching another episode of You Can Make It with David Farrell, the old fat guy. Today we're going to make coffin shrimp. It's not nearly as scary as it sounds. It's just shrimp cooked in some jalapeno peppers with some cream cheese, a little bit of seafood sauce, and some bacon wrapped around it. You'll be surprised that the jalapenos won't taste spicy. So even if you don't like spicy food, you'll likely like coffin shrimp. Coffin shrimp is easy to make. We just start with smaller jalapeno peppers that you cut in half lengthwise. I'm just going to do 6, which is about 1 serving. Now, the hottest part of the jalapeno pepper is the membranes and seeds. So you want to make sure you get those out or it'll be very spicy. And make sure you get the seeds out. Now, some people are really sensitive to peppers. Now, these aren't that hot like some, but if you have sensitive skin, you might want to wear rubber gloves while you're doing this because they are got some hot juices in there. My hands have no feeling left. They go fine. And just pull them all out. And there you go. You just get that membrane right out of each one of them. Just pull it out with your fingernail. And just move that stuff out of your way to one side. Now, this is what I used to call cocktail sauce when I was growing up, but I'm so old they changed the name of everything. They now call it seafood sauce. So I'm just going to put a couple of milliliters or a half teaspoon of seafood sauce in each of these peppers. It's a sweet sauce with a bit of horseradish in it, so it gives you a nice sweet flavor to go with the hot jalapenos. We'll just put them all in. There we go. Now, we got to put the shrimp in their coffins. Now, I got quite small shrimp because they fit in more easily, and they go in even more easily if you cut them in half and just lay them in their coffin. And we'll just do that with each of the jalapeno halves. Now, my wife loves shrimp and she doesn't like spicy food, but she'll eat this so you know it's not too spicy. If you're really afraid though, you can make these with something called Anaheim peppers, and they're not spicy at all, but I think they're a little bland for it. So once you've got the shrimps in their coffin, we're going to make up, I've got a 1/4 cup of cream cheese here. Just take about 2 teaspoons full of it and form it into a bit of a torpedo shape and lay it over the top of the shrimp. Just do that for each one. Don't worry about it being fancy shaped or anything. The main thing you want to do is just make sure you get it on there. It'll melt over and cover it when it's heated. Now, you'll note the cream cheese when you cook it doesn't run away. You would think it would, but it doesn't. At the low temperatures, it just forms a nice crust and stays right there. And And just 2 more to go. The thing about cream cheese and seafood sauce is they go together so incredibly well. They're just like they were made for each other. And now that we got the cheese on the top, comes the magic ingredient that every smoker loves, bacon. We're just going to take a slice of bacon and cut each slice into thirds. And you don't have to wrap it right around. Just drape it over each one of the coffin shrimp. Just like that. And we'll do the other one. Once they're all wrapped in the bacon, they should go in the freezer for 2 hours. The reason you want to put it in the freezer is the bacon will take longer to cook than the shrimp will. And by freezing it, the bacon's on the outside and the shrimp's on the inside, and the bacon will cook at the same time as the shrimp if you freeze it for 2 hours. Just because I'm lazy, I've already frozen 6 that we're going to be putting on the smoker where they'll cook for an hour and a half. I've got my smoker preheated to 250 degrees, and I got some other stuff in there too, but I'm just going to put the coffin shrimp in the smoker. It's easy to put in because it's frozen. And we'll just put a couple more on, and we'll move this out of the way so the fat doesn't drip on it. And they'll sit in there for an hour and a half. So the coffin shrimp are done. As you can see, the bacon's got a nice color on it. I put one this way and it fell through. Lesson learned. Make sure you put your coffin shrimp across the grain. Now we're just going to take them out and bring them inside and eat them. Now comes the best part of any meal, trying it. And coffin shrimp being a favorite of mine, I can hardly wait to try it. So let's give it a go. Salty bacon. The jalapeno is really very mild. Even if you don't think you like hot peppers, you could eat this. The shrimp adds just a wonderful flavor, and they're sweet from the seafood sauce. This is a great appetizer, and you can make it.
In today's episode, David showed us how to make coffin shrimp. The ingredients used are small jalapeno peppers, seafood sauce, shrimp, cream cheese, and bacon. For the complete recipe, visit David's blog at oldfatguy.ca. Remember, you can make it. It's time to make it. Just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of You Can Make It with the Old Fat Guy. That's me, David Farrell. Today we're going to make something with just a touch of spice. We're going to make Piri chicken. I love Piri chicken. It's a spice that comes from Portugal, but nowadays they make it in Africa. They make it in areas of South America. So I'm doing a version that's a little hot, but not too bad. The first thing we're going to do is make our Piri spice. And to make our Piri spice, I have here 2 milliliters or a half teaspoon of paprika, and 1 milliliter or a quarter teaspoon of all the rest, which are oregano, ginger, cardamom, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and cayenne. So I'm just going to take those ingredients and put them in a bowl and mix them up. And there you have a Piri spice that you can use in this recipe or in any other recipe you like. Now, Piri Piri traditionally has a touch of lemon in it. So what I have in this bowl is a tablespoon of lemon juice and a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And I'm just going to whisk them together to make a bit of an emulsion. What you're looking for is for it to get a little thick looking. It'll just take about 30 or 40 seconds. And you can just see it looks a little cloudy. That is an emulsion. And just pour it over each of the legs and rub the liquid in. Flip it over and make sure you get the other side of the drumstick. There we go. So what you have now is some lemon and oil on your chicken, and it's really important at this point you wash your hands because chicken can have salmonella in it. So I'm just going to go wash my hands. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about half of the Piri Piri spice over the chicken. But first I'm going to give it some slits, and that lets the spice get under the skin. So I'm just going to make 3 slices through the skin. Just put 3 on the big part and 2 on the small part. There we are, just break the skin. And then we're going to put half of the spice on it. Start on the other side so you can get this part of the drumstick. Flip it back over and get some on all of the skin of both. It's all seasoned and ready to go now. We just need to put a bit of butter on it, and what we're going to do is we're going to cook it for the first part of the cooking in a pan with foil over it, because that helps get the skin not so rubbery when we're cooking at the low temperatures of my smoker. So we're just going to put a little pat of butter on each part of the chicken. So that's 3 little pats. And then we're going to cover all of this with a piece of foil. Now, I'm going to take this out and put it in my smoker, but there's nothing to stop you from doing this in a 250-degree oven, except that it won't have the smoke flavor, but it'll still be delicious. I've got my smoker preheated to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Like I said, you could use an oven, but we're just going to put the foil-covered pan in the smoker and shut her up. It's going to sit like that for 40 minutes. The chicken's been cooking under the foil for 40 minutes. We're just going to take the foil off and put the chicken directly on the grill. And then take the pan out, but don't get rid of it, because what we're going to do is I'm just going to brush some of this liquid over the top of the chicken. And that's going to cook for another 40 minutes, and it will be done, and it will be absolutely delicious. The chicken's had a good 35 minutes outside of the pan, and now look at that beautiful color on it. That's just really nicely colored and well done. So we just need to take it inside and let it rest, and then we can eat it. Here's the chicken. I've brought it in so it's had a little bit of time to rest. You should always let it rest for at least a few minutes before you eat it. It lets the juices come through it. So let's try our Piri Piri chicken leg. Just cut a little bit of meat out here. Spicy without being knocked the back half of your head off. Touch of lemon. Wonderful moist chicken. The skin has even got a little bit of crisp. This is a great chicken recipe, and you can make it.
In today's episode, David explained how to make Piri Piri chicken legs. The ingredients were chicken legs, paprika, oregano, cardamom, ginger, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, cayenne, lemon juice, vegetable oil, and butter. For the complete recipe, visit David's blog at oldfatguy.com. As David would say, you can make it.